Legal botting will be a feature in Brighter Shores. Now I'm going to be straight up with you, this isn't clickbait, and honestly, I wish it was, as Andrew Gower stated in an interview with PC Gamer that to counteract botting in Brighter Shores, there will be an idle system in place that will give you, quote, a legitimate way of botting the game. Now at first sight, that might not be the worst thing in the world, because this system isn't just there to counteract botting. Yes, it's a major part of it, but it's also there to make the game less grindy and to allow you to interact with the more, quote, engaging content whenever you do have time to play. So what is the deal with this legal botting system? Is an idle system like this even a good idea for a game like Brighter Shores, and how will it affect the game? In this video, we will dive deeper into that subject. But because this is mainly a discussion, I'd also love to hear your take on the matter in the comment section down below. If you enjoy these types of discussion videos or are interested in everything Brighter Shores, as I cover every piece of information that releases, consider subscribing and join the Brighter Shores Discord I'm a part of in the description down below. Now let's dive deeper into legal botting in Brighter Shores. So to start off, I think it's important that we understand the system that is going to be in place to counteract botting. How does it work and why is it there? As especially the latter question is something I strongly disagree with Gower on, and I think you will too. Now, the system will function in a very simple way, and is quite reminiscent of many idle games, like for example Malware Idle. Whenever you're not playing the game and are logged out, you can set your character to do a task. This can be anything from combat to professions, which are the game's skills. So an example could be your character would be cutting wood whilst you're not playing the game because you had to go to the outside scary world. This will net you resources and experience, but not at the rate of you doing so actively, to balance it and make it so that the best way of playing the game won't become not playing the game at all. A very simple and on paper, not a bad idea. Especially as one of the main motivators of introducing this system is to combat the boring grind that a game like Runescape and many MMOs have. No one truly enjoys staring at a tree for 10 hours straight to get that one level. And that's one of the major reasons why we AFK Runescape whilst we're doing other things. Gower wants to take away that monotonous aspect of the game by allowing you to do the boring things whilst you are not actively playing, and whenever you are, you can do the more engaging content like quest or combat. I think we all know the meme of the game gets good after 100 hours when it comes to most MMOs, which in the majority of cases is unfortunately true. Of course, the journey there is quite often than not pretty fun as well, if it isn't viable with the current state of gaming, but it's usually not as fun as the endgame content that the journey takes you to. By introducing the system, Brighter Shores is trying to appeal to a more casual MMO audience by offering a more laid-back and engaging experience, cutting out the monotonous grinds in a way, yet still trying to offer the option to actually grind it out for the more hardcore players who value high experience rates and high gather rates. Whether this is going to work, we'll have to wait and see, as I personally only see the downsides of the system because I feel like MMORPGs are a bit of a catch-22. One of the major issues a lot of people have with MMORPGs is that they are very grindy, but it's also the biggest appeal to most of the players that play these types of games. So I'm really curious to see how this is going to work out in practice. Now the reason why I started off with pointing this aspect out is not to get my watch time up before discussing the botting side of things, but instead it's because Gower is contributing the fact for the use of bots by most players to the idea that is to counteract the grindy aspect of the game, like for example they do in Runescape. Now if this was 2007, I'd argue that Gower would probably be spot on, as a lot of younger kids back in the day would look for bots to make the grinds go by quicker and pretty much flex on their friends. Don't get me wrong, I think there are still people who do so till this day, but I think there is another, more nefarious reason for why people are botting. Money. Actual real life money. It's no secret at all to anyone who's ever played RuneScape that RuneScape Gold holds actual real life value. Sure, it's illegal to buy or sell RuneScape Gold to other players for actual in real life funds, but it doesn't stop players from doing so, and the same thing applies for selling leveled up accounts. I'd argue that the majority of bots in RuneScape, as it stands today, are doing so for these two reasons. This, in my eyes, is a very important distinction to make. The reason for why people are botting. It's not to progress their accounts quicker than their friends, it's to make dollars, whether it's through gold or account sales. Why it's important to see it from this point of view is that an idle system like Brighter Shores won't combat bots at all, because it's balanced in such a way that it will never be as efficient as actively playing the game. People who are there to make money will always choose for the best way to do so, actively playing, which will result in botting. We obviously don't know actual numbers, so all of this is going to be speculation. But let's go back to our woodcutting example. Let's say you cut 100 logs every hour whilst you're actively playing the game. Now when you go idle, you cut at 20% speed, meaning that in 1 hour you will cut 20 logs. Simple maths. Let's say you're offline for 10 hours. You would have gained 200 logs whilst not playing and obviously the equivalent amount of experience. This would be very nice and would take away from the grindy aspect of the game, as you effectively save 2 hours of staring at your character cutting down trees by not playing. Very well balanced and probably how it will function in the live game by the sounds of it. Now let's say every log is worth 1 gold, the highest tier of coin available in Brighter Shores. You'll be making 100 gold an hour whilst playing actively and 20 gold when logged out. We obviously don't know the price of gold in actual dollars, but which one of these two options you reckon a real world trader would pick? The legal risk-free one or the risky illegal third-party botting client version of it? Probably the latter, won't they? Because it will have higher profit potentials. Obviously, this is just a silly example, but unfortunately, this is how people think who bot. They will risk bans to make as much profit as possible, usually running tens or sometimes even hundreds of clients at once. Even if 100 gold is worth $1, if you run 50 clients, that is $50 an hour. Run them for 20 hours straight to somehow dodge bot detection, and that's $1,000 a day. Even if you lose half of the accounts to bans, you still make $500 a day for doing pretty much nothing. Now obviously, with an idle mechanic and the economy being built around this concept, as Gower stated in the same interview, their profit margins will be smaller than, for example, in Runescape. But if there's money to be made, these people will still do it. So will this system counteract botting? No. Unfortunately, I don't think so, as I think it will be balanced in such a way that playing actively will always be better, thus making actively botting the game the best way to make actual in real life profit, which by the way is still illegal, so don't do it. However, I do think that it could have a positive impact on promoting a more casual and less grindy gameplay experience for the actual players of Brighter Shores. But yet again, as long as it's balanced correctly, where it doesn't take away from actually putting in hours to play the game. But what do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below, leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and my name is Chevalric, and I'll see you guys in my next video.